Hi there. In this video, we're going to be looking at small to medium enterprises. Basically, an introduction into what they are exactly. So, firstly, how do you define them? Well, there's a number of common characteristics that can define a small to medium enterprise or an SME, and that's the amount of employees they've got, the type of ownership structure they have, where they get their money from, so their sources of finance, their legal structure, how much market share they have, and what management structure they have as well. So, so some of the common characteristics really between SMEs is that the owner basically is responsible for all the decision making. The bulk of the capital, so the bulk of the finance coming in, is provided by the owner as well. Generally, they're locally based, they're independently owned and operated. So really, there's a small number of employees. It's usually a sole trader or a partnership, although there could be some private companies as well. So the finance generally comes from the owners themselves. And in terms of market share, it's generally quite small because of that locally based element there. Now, they may be small, but they do contribute a lot to the economy. About half of the Australian economy's GDP, the gross domestic product, or how much is actually produced in the economy for 1 year, is contributed by small to medium enterprises. They're one of the largest providers of employment as well in Australia. And in terms of the balance of payments, which is really looking at how much is imported into how much is exported, small to medium enterprises are increasingly exporting more to the world. And some SMEs really provide a lot more invention and innovation for the Australian economy. Innovation in SMEs is generally greater than that in larger businesses because they've got to look for new, fresh ways of getting a competitive advantage over other SMEs or other businesses that they tend to put a lot more money into research and development, as opposed to larger businesses that are so well established and have a lot of market share already that they can rely on what they've already got. Now, determining the success and failure of a small to medium enterprise is quite important as well. In terms of what makes them succeed, it's really the entrepreneurial abilities of the owner or the operator, where they get their information from and the access they have to that information, how flexible they are in adapting to the ever-changing external environment in Australia and around the world. One of the keys to success as well is focusing on a market niche, which is basically not trying to tackle every single target market there is, but focusing on small pockets of the market where no one else is. And also, of course, reputation. Reputation is extremely important, and in terms of today's world where social media is such a big thing, reputation is ever more important. Okay, we see Facebook posts, Twitter posts, things on Instagram, that if as soon as one negative word is said of a business, it can really cripple them. So reputation is extremely important in their success. In terms of how they fail, failure is either, through bankruptcy or liquidation. They plan to fail. Okay, it's a very big cliche. A business that fails to plan plans to fail. But if you don't go in there with an actual plan down of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, generally the business will fail. There could be a leadership crisis. So, particularly in the case of a partnership, the leaders might not get along, or in other businesses, they may not get along, leading to failure there as well. Poor record keeping. So, actually not writing down the inflows and outflows of money, leading to not knowing where the money is going or where it's coming from, not being able to keep track of the money, and eventually failing there. Or insufficient capital, not having enough money in the first place. Now, about 70% of small to medium enterprises fail within the first 5 years. Now, that's a remarkable statistic. What does the future hold for small to medium enterprises? A lot of them are now branching off into aged services, so home delivered meals, garden maintenance, providing support for businesses, accounting, office supplies, from the comfort of their own home. They're also branching into franchises, so gardening, car maintenance, cleaning. We've also got outsourcing, so providing support for other businesses. So not so much being the main business themselves in terms of there might be an accounting firm. They don't really do accounting for regular people, but they specialize in accounting for businesses. So they will actually take on the record keeping role for other businesses, as opposed to doing taxes for your average your average Joe blogs down the road. So I really hope that this brief introduction to what a small to medium enterprise is has given you enough information to have some sort of understanding. Thank you.